Good morning, welcome all of you. The topic of discussion for this glorious morning, because why glorious I am speaking, this is Pongal, Makar Sankranti, Bihu, and Lori. One single day you can observe many things, four great occasions throughout India. So it is time for you to wish you a happy Makar Sankranti, happy Pongal, Bihu, and Lori. So on this glorious morning, we are going to discuss on a glorious topic, that is whether I live or die, I am always. So the topic of discussion will be on physical immortality, not death. There is still a choice between you, because you must not be bewildered because that death is the end of all human road. Death is a is the spirit's opportunity. Death is the passport to immortality. Whether that's what we must not be no, afraid of death, no will to die, no wish for death, not to be afraid of death. Under all conditions, under all circumstances, one must try to come out of it. That is the great message from Mother. Anyway, we are discussing from thoughts and aphorisms on the topic that is to be discussed right now. For whether I live or die, I am always. That is the aphorism number 373 by Sri Aurobindo, the master. So Sri Aurobindo quotes, shall I accept death, or shall I turn and wrestle with him and conquer? There is another option. You have got plenty of options with you. Shall I accept death? That is that already the normally till now people have accepted death, because that is the destiny. Jatasya hi dhruvang mrityu. That's why Sri Aurobindo questions again and again, shall I accept death? Or the other option is that, shall I turn and wrestle with him and conquer? Not only wrestle with him, that is also, it needs a great courage. Shall I wrestle with him and conquer? That's what the question being put by Sri Aurobindo before us. That shall be as God in me chooses. It is not that with your advice or with the idea of the Veda Upanishad, the Vedanta Purana, that's what with that advice we am going. But the thing is, that's Sri Aurobindo course in a very vigilant way. That shall be as God in me chooses. Shall be means accept death, or turn and wrestle with him and conquer. That has to be chosen by God in me, my God in me, what he chooses. For whether I live or die, I am always, because I know soul is immortal. Whether I live or die, I am always. So definitely I will follow the God that is in me, who is choosing what really I have to do. Either I have to accept death, or I have to turn and wrestle with him and conquer. Again, Sri Aurobindo goes for the another step on 374 on same death. Sri Aurobindo has quoted, what is this thing thou callest death? Casual, very, very, very usual manner, one formality, formalist here ask the question in very casual way. What is the thing, this thing thou callest death? Can God die? Another thing, can God die? O thou who fearest death, normally we fear death. See in the quotes, O thou who fearest death, it is life that has come to thee, sporting with a death head and wearing a mask of terror. That is what need not be, because you don't know what really death is. If once you know, if you can realize, if you can identify it, if you can recognize, if you can know the identities, there's nothing to worry about and nothing to fear. It is life that has come to this sporting with a death head. Life that has come sporting with a death head and wearing a mask of terror, nothing else. Death came to her hiding the shadow love. Well might he find in him his perfect sign. So it has come to you, life. So death transformed becomes life. That is immortality, nothing else. Death transformed. After transformation, what shape it wears becomes life, capital L. That is immortality. Here's during the quotes. who fearest death. It is life that has come to thee, sporting with a death hat and wearing a mask of terror. Again, in 375 here in the quotes for another point, another corner, another angle to discuss in physical immortality and death. Now, there is a means to attain physical immortality and death by our choice. If we can, it is option. The choice is given to us. You can choose between the two, physical immortality or death. It is by our choice, not by nature's compulsion. So nothing like this. We can't be compelled by nature. We can't accept the nature's compulsion, and to actually so there is a option is given, either physical immortality or the death by our choice, but not by nature's compulsion. But who would care to wear a one coat for 100 years, or be confined to a narrow and changeless lodging unto a long eternity? It is because we don't want to choose. Long coat, torn, most of the time it is teased. So who will be interested to wear it for hundreds of years? And or again, or in one narrow and changeless lodging unto a long eternity. Nobody will prefer, so I can prefer. No, you can prefer. It is not at all preferable. That's what Sri Aurobindo quotes beautifully. You have got the choice. You have got the option. You can make it. There is a choice between physical immortality or death, because before choosing, you must be conscious, you must be aware, you must be very much realized that what death really is and how we can attain the physical immortality. It is our choice, not nature's compulsion. Again, Sri Aurobindo quotes, fear and anxiety are perverse forms of a will. Two things, two words, Sri Aurobindo quotes, fear and anxiety, perverse forms of a will. What thou fearest and ponderest over, really, on what you fearest and ponderest over, striking that note repeatedly in thy mind, thou helpst to bring about. For if the will above the surface of waking repels it, if thy will above the surface of waking repels it, it is at what thy mind underneath is all along willing, and the subconscious mind is mightier, wider and better wigged to fulfill than working force and intellect. Very interesting. So you're in the course here. Fear and anxiety are the perverse forms of a will. Perverse forms of the will. Again, what thou fearest and ponderest over, naturally, what really fear and anxiety, striking that note repeatedly in thy mind, again and again, it is a repetition. Thou helpst to bring about, for if thy will above the surface of waking repels it, if thy will beyond the surface, above the surface of working, repels it, then what will happen? It is at what the mind underneath is all along willing. Underneath and above, something is will, something can reject. And the subconscious mind, subconscious mind, what it will do is mightier, wider, better wigged to fulfill than thy waking force and intellect. That's what we must know. That is the difference between subconscious mind and your waking force and intellect. But the spirit is stronger. That's what Sri Aurobindo wants to tell. Not the mind, upper and the lower, under or beneath, and the subconscious mind and your intellect. Finally, Sri Aurobindo quotes, it is the spirit, but the spirit is stronger than both together. Both together, about the mind and because subconscious in thy mind and the subconscious mind. But spirit is stronger than both, and from fear and hope take refuge in the grandiose calm and careless mastery of the spirit. So definitely don't lay more on this surface mind, subconscious mind, even though it seems stronger, wider, better weaved, mightier, wider and better weaved, but you less sheltered in the spirit. Again, Sri Aurobindo quotes in another aphorism, this is a wonder of the way of works, that even eternity to God can be made an agency of salvation. Enmity to God, This is a wonder. Here in the course, it is a great wonder. Which one is a great wonder? Greater wonder of way of works that even the enmity to God can be made an agency of salvation. Enmity. Sometimes, most of the time, we make enmity. Ravana, for his salvation, he was trying. He was very much interested how to survive and how to escape his this asuric demoniac net as quick as possible. So this Sita Harana and all that enmity with Rama, that was possible. Even you have seen Krishna and all. Anyway, so enmity to God can be made an agency of salvation. Sometimes God draws and attaches us most swiftly to Him. Sometimes God draws and attaches us to most swiftly to Him by wrestling with us. By wrestling with us as a fierce, invincible, and irreconcilable enemy. Because God chooses, we have to go and fight, and we have to go see God. Like we see, we try to wrestle with Him because His blows will make our body the hardest element, Vajra. So enmity to God can be made an agency of salvation. Beautiful. Enmity to God can be made an agency of salvation. Sometimes God draws and attaches. Sometimes God draws. Sometimes He chooses, He picks, and He decides. Draws and attaches us more swiftly to Him by how the method wrestling with us as our fierce, invincible, and irreconcilable enemy. That's what God chooses us, and we have to make, and we have to fight, we have to take part. Because even if we are getting 2 or 3 blows, already I have spoken, these punched portions will become the Vajra, and this is actually attain its true physical immortality. Again, here in the course, the path of works is in a way the most difficult side of God's triune causeway. The path of works, here in the course here, the path of works is in a way the most difficult side of God's triune causeway. Yet it is not also. In this material world, at least, the easiest, widest, and the most delightful. In this material world, the path of the works is the most difficult side of God's causeway, yet it is not also. Not also so, because in this material world, at least easiest, widest, and most delightful. For at every moment we clash against God. For every moment we clash against God, the worker, and grow into His being by 1,000 divine touches. That's what we already know. No, Sri Aurobindo, finally it is quoting the God which is we have chosen or we are doing, it is not difficult, or rather it is at least easiest, widest, and the most delightful. How it is? Because for at every moment, what we do, how we go, every moment we clash against God, the works, and grow into His being, by 1,000 divine touches. It is the touch of the divine with which really we are coming into His contact. Against here in the course, God make the infinite world by self-knowledge. This world is infinite world. God made the infinite world by self-knowledge, which in its works is will force self-fulfilling. That's what will force of the divine and the self-fulfilling. That is what we have seen, we have touched. This is the divine plan, supreme planning. So he used ignorance to limit his infinity. He used ignorance to limit his infinity, but fear, weariness, depression, self-distrust, ascent to weakness are the instrument by which he destroys what he created. So everything is a plan. God made infinity world by self-knowledge, which in its works is will force and self-fulfilling. Again, why this contrariety? That is the question we keep asking again and again. He used ignorance to limit his infinity. But fear, weakness, depression, self-distrust, ascent to weakness are the instrument by which he destroys what he created. When these things are torn to what is evil, harmful, and ill-regulated within thee, then it is well. But if they attack thy very source of life and strength, then seize and expel them from them, or thou diest. So things are there. It is his creation. It is for the goodness. It is for the betterness. If, however, they try to attack you, the very source of life and strength, then what you have to do, you have to seize and expel them. If you can do so, seize and expel, then you are going to die. So again, Sri Aurobindo quotes beautifully, mankind has two powerful weapons to destroy its own powers and enjoyments, wrong indulgence and wrong absence. So we know, very interesting, Sri Aurobindo quotes, mankind has two powerful weapons to destroy its own powers and enjoyments. So what they really are, one is, a wrong indulgence, second is a wrong abstinence. So these are the two powerful instruments, wrong indulgence and wrong abstinence, by which these are the two powerful weapons by which we destroy its own powers and enjoyment. Again, we are coming forward to the aphorism number 379. Our mistake has been and is always flee from ills of paganism to asceticism as a remedy, and from the ills of asceticism back to paganism. So it is almost a reversible process. Here in the course again, I will try to quote it for you. Our mistakes, most of the time we commit mistakes. To err is human, to forgive is divine. Mistakes are mistakes. So we must recognize, we must identify it, we must, of course, note it. Our mistakes have been and is always to flee from the ills of paganism, paganism to the asceticism as a remedy. Again, from ills of asceticism to paganism, back to paganism, we swing forever between two false opposites. Two false opposites. So that is a great aphorism we know. Our mistakes have been and always to flee from ills of paganism to asceticism as a remedy, or and from the ills of asceticism to the back to paganism. This way from here to there, or there to here back. So we swing forever between two false opposites. Here really we do the false opposites. Again, towards the end, we are going to have a nice quotation here. It is well not to be too loosely playful in one's games or too grimly serious in one's life and works. Two ways, one about the games, one second about the real lives. Here in the course here beautifully, it is well not to be too loosely painful in one's game, or too grimly serious about life and works. We seek in both a playful freedom and a serious order. We seek in both a playful freedom and a serious order, both to be done, but actually not to the extreme point we must not go. That's what Sri Aurobindo wants to quote here. Too loosely playful in one's games. Most of the time, what really we become too looseful in too loosely playful in our game, and or secondly too grimly serious in one's life and works. Then what really we have to do? We seek both a playful freedom and a serious disorder. That's what which is the advice of Sri Aurobindo. We must do this in our present scenario, and we'll see. Again, towards the end, we will see if all the remedies we are really and in themselves efficacious, and all medical theories sound, how would that console us for our lost natural health and vitality? So it is a study, it is into the medical studies here in the course. If all remedies, what remedies we are taking really, if all remedies were really and in themselves efficacious and all medical theories sound, how then a question comes before us, how would have all console us for our lost natural health and vitality? Then the upas tree is sound in all its parts, but it's still an upas tree. Very interesting. Anyway, that poisonous tree is upas tree. We have to take care of. We have to be serious in our endeavor. Anyway, it is time here to stop. Bande Mataram.